Hello, this is James from Bad Cat, and today we're taking a look at the brand new release of Windows 10. It's available for download very shortly, and we've just got our hands on a copy early. And like Windows 8 and 8.1, it's designed to run even on lower end hardware. So it's not going to kill your machine, and you should be just fine with the existing hardware if you're running Win 7 or Windows 8 already. And just looking at it straight away, it's really familiar. We can see that the Windows desktop is back as standard. We can see we've got our familiar icons there, taskbar and so on. And the Windows 8 Metro screen with all its tiles is gone, which is going to make a lot of people very happy. No more flicking backwards and forwards between the Metro screen and the desktop. So that's gone, but look what's back. Down in the bottom left hand corner, the start button is back. A little smaller than usual, but it's there, and so is the start menu, which is great news. It's had a bit of a facelift. I mean, immediately you'll see this new area bolted onto the side of the menu. And here we've kind of inherited the live tiles from Windows 8. And this will look very familiar if you have a Windows phone, these tiles. So we can see it's customizable. If you don't like the size, you can shrink it down. So that does look like a Windows phone. Or you can make it bigger if you like it and you want a lot of tiles in there. The tiles are movable. We can move these round and order them however we want to. And the tiles can be resized, make them small, make them big. Whatever you want to do, you can really customize that to how you like it. And I said they are live tiles. So for instance, look at my calendar tile there. It's telling me I've got to go shopping later on today. Nice. The mail, because I've linked Windows 10 with my live account, it's showing me that I've got some mail ready to be read there. And the other things too will reflect what's happening at any given time of the day. So that's a really nice area. It's quite familiar, and you can customize that however you want to. And just having a look at the rest of the menu, it's the start menu. It is very familiar. We don't really have to relearn this operating system. We can see we've got a list there of our most used apps, a shortcut to documents, personal folders, settings and so on. And right at the bottom we can see the All Apps button. And in Windows 7 that used to be called All Programs. It's exactly the same thing. You click on it and you can see everything that you've got installed, all the software that you've installed and the apps that you've put on there in alphabetical order. So really it's great because we've got our start button, we can click on it, go to our menu, we can find what we want, and we don't have to mess around wasting time searching for where things have been moved to. I'll show you something very cool about the start menu as well. It's alphabetical, and if you click on any of the letters, you see how it shrinks down to just the alphabet, which is a nifty little feature. So if we wanted to run Microsoft Edge, we could just go to M. It takes us to the M's, and we can find Microsoft Edge. Just a little helper to make things easier, which is quite nice. So that's our start button and our start menu. But something else that's new about that is what happens if we click our right mouse button on the start button there, and we see how we've got this really great menu now of handy utilities that perhaps we would use quite regularly, and in the past we've had to search around for them, like programs and features, or the event viewer, task manager and so on. We've got these utilities that we'll use on a daily or weekly basis, and again they're very quick to find now. We just right click and there we go, we're in programs and features where we can see what we've got installed, take things off or whatever. And I really love that, and I kind of think Microsoft must be kicking themselves as to why they didn't think of that 20 years ago, because it's brilliant. Now if we come to the other end of the taskbar, again this is very familiar to Windows users. We've got our time and date, our volume icon is there as usual, the wireless status is there. We've got a battery. Because I'm using a laptop, it tells me how much battery I've got. I can change my brightness, and so on. But have a look at this icon here. It says no new notifications. Now when I click on that, we get this great action center, and this is where notifications will appear. As I said earlier, I've linked my account in with my Windows Live account, so it says, look, I've got some emails ready to be read, waiting there. Any tasks that we have to run will appear in the action center there. And if we have a look at the bottom, we can see this little area of tiles of handy utilities that we might need to use quite quickly. We can go into tablet mode, for instance, if we're using a mobile device, connect up very quickly with a wireless device. We can create a OneNote very quickly, switch our wireless on and off. Quiet hours is quite nice. If you're working away and you really need to concentrate, and you constantly get little pop-ups in your corner here, you click on quiet hours, you'll stop getting notifications, which is very nice. But what's great too is this one here, all settings. If we click on that tile, we get what I kind of view as a mini control panel. And if you've got Windows 8 already, this might be very familiar, but it'll be new to you if you have Windows 7. And it's kind of a mini control panel where you can get to utilities very quickly that you might use quite regularly. For instance, you can come in here and you can change your personalization, or you can come and change the time and the language settings. You can go into system very quickly, change some of the settings there. It's quite a nice area, and I think you might use that a lot more than control panel. But that's not to say control panel is gone. Remember, we glimpsed it earlier. Right click on the start button and we can go into control panel, and there it is. It's not really changed from Windows 7, and that's really good news because we know where everything is. We can find what we want. If we want to come and check our firewall settings, we know we can just go to control panel and into Windows Firewall, and that's really good. So we're not really having to relearn anything. It's a very familiar operating system already, and we've only looked at it for a few minutes. A couple of other things that are quite nice. You might have noticed this icon here, Task View. Now, if I just start a couple of things running, let's get the calendar running, and let's have a look at that, just as an example. So here, I've got a couple of things running there, and if I click on the task view, you can see it drops down and it shows me what I've got running. And you might have quite a lot there because you might have a lot going on. But notice this little addition, new desktop. If I click that, it creates a secondary desktop, and I can have as many as I want there. And if we go into there, you say, there's nothing running. So already you might say, yeah, that's good. I'll have a desktop for work. I'll have a desktop for play. I'll have a desktop for internet, or whatever you can think of. And if we go back to look at our task there, you can drag from one to the other. You can say, okay, I don't want my calendar on there. I want that on desktop 2. And there we are. So we've got nothing on 3. We've got our calendar on 2. And I've got my contacts on 1. So that's quite a nice feature, the addition of that. And also, you've probably already noticed Cortana, this search bar down here on the taskbar, and that is Cortana. And Cortana is basically a personal assistant. You can look in there, and it's a bit like Google. It tries to be smart by looking at your browsing habits, and it will put suggestions in there. You see, it's got my calendar task in there. Some of the latest news that I might find interesting is in there, what the weather's going to be like, and you can personalize that, and you can train it so that you're only going to see in there things that are really of interest to you. But the other thing about Cortana is, of course, it's a search feature, so you can type in a search there, or if you want to use your microphone, you can talk to Cortana too. It's a bit like Siri on Apple devices, so you can type a search or you can ask a search, and it'll go off and find things for you. So that's Cortana, and that's quite nice too. And the final thing I'll show you today is Microsoft Edge. So Windows 10 comes with Internet Explorer, but we're not going to talk about that because it's boring. But what isn't boring is Microsoft Edge. It's the brand new web browser that Microsoft have built specifically for Windows 10. And having a look at that, it's great. It's light, it's fast, it's an improved browsing experience. And looking at it there, you can see it looks quite basic and uncluttered. And we can have multiple tabs if we want to, just as we normally would. But I'll show you a couple of other things that are quite cool. If I go to a website I've prepared earlier, some websites can be very busy. They can have lots going on, lots of advertisements and pop-ups and videos running down the side and so on. And really, you just want to read what you went there to read in the first place. So you can click on the reading view icon now in Microsoft Edge, and what it will do is it will get rid of all the rubbish and just give you what you went there to see in the first place. So you can see it's just giving us the images and the text that are relevant, and we can read through that without having to deal with all the clutter that some websites throw at us. But another nice addition too is this annotation tab, this annotation bar. You might be looking at a website and thinking, wow, that's really interesting. I'd like to highlight that, or make some little notes on there, annotations and things. You can throw on a text box too, and really just highlight the things that are of interest to you on that website, which you can save. You can save that into OneNote, or you can save it into an email and send that off to a friend or a colleague, or do lots of cool things with that, which is a really nice feature too. But that's just really a brief overview, a really quick look at Microsoft Windows 10 and how it looks and feels. And my impressions here are it's good. I like it. It's good. It's free if you have Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 8.1, and you can download it for free and install it on July the 29th. This is just a few days away, and my advice is really go for it. It's great. It's not the horrendous experience that Windows 8 was when that came along, and you'll install it and it'll be fast and quick and familiar. You won't have to relearn a lot of stuff, and you can actually install it straight on top of Windows 7 or Windows 8, and it will keep all of your files, all of your settings. You won't lose anything. You'll just have exactly what you've got, but with the nice new Windows 10 desktop and experience. So enjoy. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and check back soon, because I'm now going to start putting on a lot more how-to videos to do with the specific features of Windows 10. So again, thanks very much and goodbye.